Hello, welcome everybody. We can start. Thank you for attending in this opening call for challenges, the second opening call for challenges of the Innovation Booster Fashion and Lifestyle program, with the objective that I will elaborate a little bit more of fostering radical innovation in Switzerland. Let me thank, first of all, the program sponsors, Alpha Square Invest, Seven for All Mankind, guests that joined us this year, along with S for Excellence, Hugo Boss, Microsoft, OF Design, Philip Klein, the Lifestyle Tech Competence Center, Logitech that also joined as the support of the program this year, and UBS. So let's kick off this session in order to explain to you, first of all, about the program, what is the program about, our objectives, the content of the call for challenges, and especially also how and when you could potentially join. First, we try to steer the program on a manifesto shared with also InnoSwiss. The program is powered and financed by InnoSwiss, and for us, leadership and experimentation is key for leading innovation, along with collaboration and openness. It's an open innovation program. Responsibility and sustainability, also sustainability is a great objective of the program, along with the work ethics, transparency and trust. It's a user-centric program, so human at the center, always to be thought during the process, and diversity, inclusion, and gender equality. So let's go ahead. And what is the program? So it's called Innovation. It's called Innovation Booster, which is a themed science-based program promoted by InnoSwiss and managed by, in this case, our leading house, which is Dagora. So we are from Dagora, which operates this program. And it's a thematic program. So at the moment, there are about 7 programs running in Switzerland in parallel on different themes. So on food and on other topics. In our case, we focus mainly on fashion and lifestyle. So today also we will see a little bit a broader approach to the lifestyle industries with, as mentioned, open, sustainable, and user-centric approach. So we use this network on fashion and lifestyle industry operators, but also academia, in order to leverage these through events, workshops, and open also trainings and other initiatives in order to try, first of all, to address and understand the problems to be tackled and to create on them potential radical innovation. So it's, of course, the very first steps of the innovation funnel. So the innovation funnel is very long, and the Innovation Booster trying to focus on the very first steps with the objective of funding up to 10 ideas per year. We fund up to 10 ideas per year with about 28,000 francs per idea. And nevertheless, the amount of the sponsoring of the funding of the project is limited. It's very key because the objective, the ultimate objective is to test the potential of the idea. And doing so in the very first steps is very useful because you avoid to invest a big amount of money, resources, people down the line of the innovation process and try to address the wrong approach to the innovation proposed. So we try to set the right direction in the beginning, and also it's a preparation of what can come later on with everything that InnoSwiss can offer in terms of financial instruments. So InnoSwiss can offer about 30 different financial instruments for innovation, and the Innovation Booster is just to steer the innovation process in the right direction. So we can go forward trying to explain to you what is our process. Each Innovation Booster program has its own approach. So we have a certain degree of flexibility in order to adapt to the kind of industry and also the leading house, how to best leverage the different steps towards the funding of the potential new ideas. So we begin with an industry workshop that we had both last year and this year, on which we collected and identified with a pool of experts from the industries, different industries of fashion and lifestyle, composed by C-level executives, by academia, by field experts, associations, and also investors. So to have different point of views on what are the challenges and problems to be tackled and solved. So what is relevant to be solved, because that's key in the process. And then today we have this launch of the call for challenges. We do this process. The whole process is done twice during the year. So we have two iterations. One is ongoing at the moment. And then there is a window of application to the call, which for this call starts today and it will last until September. We will see later on the exact deadline. And then we will have a workshop called Challenge Your Ideas. And that's a key moment to the process because it's mandatory for the participation of the program. And the innovation teams that we help also match make during the application phase, we will gather together in this call. We partner up with the PFL, so we are very happy because we are based in Lugano, Tessin, and usually we feel sometimes a bit isolated for the rest of Switzerland. So we tried and we strive also with the help of Swiss and the other innovation booster to try to be really relevant at national level. So we thank also, we see some representatives of a PFL, so we thank their availability to join us and support us in this process and to amplify the message also internally to try to organize that workshop there. And during the workshop, we use a design thinking methodology to basically is divided into two parts, main parts. In the first part, the teams are already formed. So we focus on the problems to try to deep dive a little bit on the problems to be solved, to understand the problems and to go on the basis of them on the assumptions and try to disrupt a little bit these biases that surrounds the problem and to try to understand what is really the hot spots to focus on in then the second part of the workshop, which is the co-creation of the potential ideas to be tested. Then, depending on the number of teams and ideas formed and received, we can accommodate a maximum of 10 to 12 ideas to the pitch day, on which a dedicated jury that you can also visit our website. There will be the references at the end, but also in the follow-up, it's ibfashionandlifestyle.ch. There is the public information about the jury composition, and they will ultimately decide. So it's an independent jury. We organize the program, and they will decide and assess during the pitch day where the teams will pitch their ideas, and the jury will decide ultimately who gets the funding. And usually we divide the numbers of awardable, let's say, ideas into 5 plus 5. So for each call, we can award up to 5 ideas. And then for the awarded ideas, starts the phase which is called test, implement, and learn. Test because the ultimate goal of the funding is to test the potential of the ideas, but also learn is very important because, as you might know, the innovation cycles, it's a feedback, it's always a loop. And it's very key to gain an understanding after the testing and then go back and reiterate the process and pivot if necessary, abandon the idea completely or adjust it for a better focus in the steps ahead. And going forward, how the innovation teams, so I mentioned the innovation teams, but what is key is that this program puts together two main key stakeholders, because the innovation teams, which is mandatory for the participation of the program, must be composed by at least one research partner represented by a university or a research center based in Switzerland and recognized by Swiss. For any doubts, you can reach out to us and we can assess if the university of research center is eligible for the program. And in terms of representative from the institution, usually we accept a researcher, an actual researcher, or a professor. Students usually can join the team, but as an auxiliary, let's say, player of stakeholder of the team. And then on the other side, we need to have at least one implementation partner, which is represented by anyone who has a legal entity based in Switzerland. Ultimately, since it's public funding, the funding will go to a Swiss beneficiary. So it needs to have a legal entity based in Switzerland. That's because of federal law, it's mandatory like that. And it can be a small or medium enterprises, could be definitely a startup. It could be also a larger enterprise. There is no cap of the dimension of the company. On the other hand, testing on a company that has already the scale to potentially scale the idea and implement the idea could be a good implementation partner, but also can be organizations like foundations, associations, NGOs in general. And also, the program can have an international perspective, meaning that an implementation partner based internationally can join an existing innovation team. It should not be the only implementation partner, because the first implementation partner must be Swiss-based, but second ones can be international. And in general, an innovation team can be composed by multiple players, from both sides, as long as at least one of each is present. And then we try and we keep also the window of the application phase long enough in order that you can potentially apply to the program. You can already have a counterpart that can join the program. So if you are a research representative, you might know a nice startup that can join with you, or a company or an association. On the other hand, you might know a university you can partner with, and you can reach out to them and talk about the same problems to tackle, the same challenge to tackle together, and join the program together. In the opposite case, if you are alone, we are inviting you to submit your application immediately, because if we receive as soon as possible your application, and then I will explain to you how it's very easy. It's very just an input at the beginning. We can help out, and the team has been very helpful during these years of activity of helping you finding a nice counterpart. We cannot guarantee you to have a complete team, but we can help out in the process. Because the participation of the workshop, we decided that it's mandatory to be participated by completed innovation teams. And that's why we would like to focus on a whole day already on the program, already on the activities, to finish the day with a potential co-created idea to be then refined and submitted to the program. We can go ahead. And what is the output of the funded idea? For the awarded ideas, we try to focus on one of the three areas of innovation: desirability, viability, and feasibility. I will focus on them in the next slide. But the output of the funding, the activities, can be the production of a general top-level proof of concept of the idea, a feasibility study in case feasibility is very relevant for the testing. On the other hand, desirability is key for us, because if you create an innovation nobody needs, it's useless to have it in the market. And therefore, market assessment is key, can be the focus of the whole testing, and also part of the funding scheme from 2025 is erogated to 2,500 francs through a voucher called the executional voucher. And it's mandatory, and it can be redeemed only if used for desirability testing, and therefore for a market assessment. Because we think also, along with InnoSwiss, that it's key that you understand the needs of the demand of your potential solution. And then, of course, viability, which impacts the other aspect we can see in the next slide. Because those three areas put together, they overlap, and in the middle, you can, usually it's called the sweet spot of innovation. So usually you need everything matched and balanced between the three areas. So desirability is the demand of the idea, the feasibilities, the technical feasibility, the technical implementation possible. So more on the realization aspects of the idea, and viability is more related to the business model. So how you would like to convey it in the market, and it can be tackled usually. All three should be kept, let's say, in sight during the process, but you can only focus on one of that also because we know that the funding amount is limited, and therefore you can only focus on one of the areas. And a current status, just to give you a snapshot of the program, the status at the moment that is we are running the third year of activities. We were funded and activated as a program, innovation program from 2024 to 2027. So we are running the third year of activity. And so far we allocated more than 500,000 francs to innovation teams with a total of 105 project submissions. With the latest one, we can update it to around 136 ideas received so far. And at the moment, 8 Swiss universities are actually and actively testing new potential radical innovative ideas. And we already have some nice results and case studies that we shared in other events. And if you're curious about some of them, were shared on our social media and on our website. And we can share also with you if interested to learn a little bit more with a concrete example on how we funded and how the teams developed their ideas further. Then we would like to also explain a little bit the jury, but I mentioned it earlier. So it's composed by a diversified group of research, business, and society in order that this balance is not too steered towards the industry or to academia. We would like, of course, a very expert point of view, but also a hands-on point of view. So also from the industry that every day is in contact with the challenges that we would like to solve. And also from, for instance, investors, they can understand the innovation process and the, let's say, bootstrapping, kickstart of new innovation, how to better steer, and also give suggestions to the teams on how to approach their ideas to better make it successful. And there are permanent members. So part of them are selected by from the program sponsors, which also to avoid any conflict of interest that they cannot participate in the program. They are only from the jury, and we are also take that part very seriously. And also temporary participants from the jury, because each year, based on the kind of call like this one, we will see in a moment what kind of themes we will address in this case. We try to have a specific expertise also for that specific call in order that is more relevant for the topics involved. And going forward, the team funding allocation, how is done? I mentioned that the funding is given to a unique beneficiary. So the beneficiary is always one and is responsible, of course, of the public funding. And then among the innovation teams, if it's composed by 2 or more components, it can be agreed that I don't know, the academic partner can get the funding, can perform the activity, and the implementation partner offers their service in kind, like benefiting from the work done by the academic partner, and they benefit trying to implement a possible solution. On the other case, it can be freely agreed on the distribution of funds, as long as it's relevant and based on the actually the effective activities performed for the testing of the idea. And of course, we have the series of lean but very clear agreement upon that we can see for the teams that will be awarded. And then it's important to address the topic of radical innovation, because the program is focused on generating new potential radical innovation solutions. And what is radical innovation? It's worth to repeat a little bit for the ones that it's the first time that they encounter our program, and understanding a little bit on the details, we can go on the next slide, please.
It's loading.
Okay, sorry. Because there are two main approaches to innovation. There's incremental innovation, which is taking an existing solution to a problem and making it better, making it more efficient. So to streamline, to have less cost, less friction, a better approach to it. Or there is radical innovation. Radical innovation is ambitious, it's more difficult. It's also difficult to judge if it's real radical or not, but the aim is to have a shift, a paradigm shift to solve an existing problem in a novel way. And it can introduce changes in thinking, technology, in business models. Usually you can understand if an innovation is radical. You can hint at the beginning, seeing if the approach is really original, but then the impact, you can measure it afterwards, and we can see from the next slide, because there are also confusion about the labels that we call usually innovation. We call radical innovation, but I heard many times, and 99% of the time I heard it was disruptive. We would like to create disruptive innovation. You cannot know before if it's disrupted, because looking at the problem and the solution, it means that you look at the approach that you give to the problem, and that you differentiate between radical or incremental. If you decide to solve an existing problem in a more efficient way, it will be an incremental innovation. If you decide to solve it in a novel and original way, it will be a radical innovation. While disruption, you can only evaluate post-implementation of the solution. So you need to look at the solution and the impact of the market. In that case, you can judge if an innovation it was disruptive or not. And many examples of the most famous is the iPhone that rechanged the whole market of the whole category of a product, but there are tons of examples on how an innovation can be disrupted. And of course, we are living the AI, which is definitely disruptive in this moment. And then to find the sweet spot of innovation, and that's what we do usually during our process, and we have the teams doing so, to slow down, to work together. Also, we put as facilitators in the work of the innovation teams, because we would like to stop and help you understand that to look behind the idea and deal with the underlying problem. So usually we try to also disenchant the teams that are coming to our program already fell in love with the idea or already with the solution. You need to understand the problem first before trying a solution. And we know that it's a bit of a problem of a chicken and an egg, because you already probably have a solution, potential solution, and you would like to join an innovation program, but it should be the way around. And also, we would like to dig deeper and going behind the problem and dealing with the underlying assumptions. Because more likely than not, and for most of us, until we face it, it's difficult to recognize, but we are full of biases. And if we stop long enough and we work with method, we can understand that into understanding the problem to be solved. Many times we are affected by biases, and disrupting these biases help us into going into the right direction. And so let's go deep into the core of this webinar and this announcement. So we are happy to announce that the theme of these call for challenges will be called Future by Design, the new codes of luxury, sportswear, and well-being. And also here we have the deadline, which is September the 24th. It's very along the year, later in the year. But please remember that as soon as we receive the first submissions, the better it is to help you also in the participation of the program. And the other fact is that since we have limited capacity, of course, there is a capacity, physical capacity to host a certain number of innovation teams during the workshop. At a certain point, we will close the participations because of the reach fulfilled. And in order to understand a little bit the topics, so we started Of course, all these topics were identified during those workshops. And not only we stopped at the workshop, but also we dig deeper with an extensive research on all valuable and reliable resources like large firms' studies on the field, also academic feedbacks that we received from professors and institutions. And so with many inputs, we try to cross those topics and also to make it relevant for Switzerland in general and also to the Swiss Romand region, especially trying to mix a little bit technology and fashion from the Ticino region to the technology of the rest of Switzerland and everything coming from Swiss Romand. So all the industry that are well established in the region, meaning luxury, sportswear, a lot of knowledge in sportswear. So the topics are AI-powered personalization. So personalization is a big topic. Very often we hear that it's needed in the industry, but also a design approach for a better client experience. And then wearables, smart garments, and connected performance, the whole IoT and technology that can be implemented in the garments. And it's a very interesting approach, and also AI helps on that too. So more of also two topics together can also go along. And then luxury watchmaking and technology in general, technology innovation. If you think about the classical luxury and watchmaking industry, it's very traditional, but of course, a lot of good influence of innovation is beneficial to that industry too, and also the industry is demanding fresh approaches to be stimulated also on this side of things. And for all the topics that I'm mentioning later after the call, we will share the whole presentation. We decided not to go into much detail because without context, it's difficult to explain to you what could be the and possible iterations that you can apply with these challenges. But you can find a brief description that we elaborated in this presentation, but also in the call on which you can submit. And then going forward, we also have esports, gaming, interactive worlds. As you know, in the last 10 years, the world of esports grew exponentially. Gaming is now consolidated the practice among not only Gen Z, but also in other age groups. And so the consumer engagement models went a lot into gamification from one side, but also the core gaming can benefit from a fashion influence. So our aim is to have a commission a fusion of these different industries and to try to find the common areas, the synergies on where innovation can be implemented and the different industries can benefit from each other. So also sports performance, preventive health and well-being. We heard from managers and from professors, researchers, sports and health and well-being are all interconnected, and there are nice perspective there that can be explored, along with augmented customer experience, sensory commerce. So we hear always at our workshops that the limit of the digital era of commerce is the gap that we have with our devices in the shopping experience. You cannot have the same feeling of buying a garment if you cannot touch it, or if you cannot smell, in some cases, have the whole sensory experience. And so how to fill that gap is also an area of the industry is looking forward to improve. And then there is also the sustainability side of all those topics. So circular sportswear, we also thought in particular at sportswear because it's a high fast-paced cycles of usage of garments, of items. And so circularity becomes more and more relevant in that, but also how to recycle that. Many times we know that garments and shoes, for instance, shoes are the most difficult pieces to be recycled because they are difficult to separate the different materials, and also there are multi-materials garments. So how to better design also, starting from the beginning of the cycle, the design cycle of a product, how to better thinking about recycling and also end-of-life innovation. You need to have an holistic overview, or you can focus on a specific step of the process. And last but not least, also new business models for premium performance, circular growth. We saw also in the sportswear world, but also in the luxury sometimes, new business model approaches and how to impact both the industry in general can benefit, for instance, stagnant moment for the market in some cases. It can find new demands for consumer that would like to experiment or would like to use, and it's better apt to adopt a new business model. So the topics are not exhaustive. So if you have something that might be close to one of those topics, can be welcome in any case. The team, especially Michele, will be one of the first main point of contact for any inquiries on the joining of the program. So we can definitely, and we are available for dig deeper a little bit with you to understand if you're in scope, if your hypothesis is in scope, and if the program is the better solution for your innovation that you would like to bring forward. And we have other slide. No, we have the deadlines. So here you will have the chance to dig deeper, but it's important to mention that to participate in the program, differentiating from other programs and of course other dimensions of funding. In this case, we tried to simplify a little bit the possibility to join. So at the beginning, we will send you the link to the call on which you can find all the instructions on how to join. But basically, it's a very easy form to fill in with your general information, who you are, the company or the organization and your contacts, etc. And the key, it's just a few lines of text on what is your innovation hypothesis. So what we ask for you is just a few lines of what could be the hypothesis to explore, and of course mentioning the challenge that you would like to tackle. Then you can change it in the course of the activity, and of course the general approach and also the unfocused approach at the beginning is on purpose, because the workshop then would be focused on helping you to understand better both the problem and to help you co-creating and not coming already with a finished idea. Also because it's important to precise that it's a call for challenges, it's not for a call for ideas. So we are not looking for ideas already developed and finished at this stage, but we are looking at broad hypotheses could be explored together, because then the ultimate goal is testing. So we are very early, I remind you, with this, the innovation cycle. So logistic information, very important to mention. The deadline of the submission of the your potential participation for the call for challenges is set on September the 24th. It will be online. So as mentioned, there are two forms to fill in. One is on HubSpot, very easy. And the other one is on Join Create, just to elaborate a little bit more, but it's still the same, basically the same information. But why to do it twice? We faced the question many times, but because Join Create is an open innovation platform, and then when you publish your hypothesis there, it's public, and you can share and look for potential joining of your innovation teams from different stakeholders on that platform. Otherwise, we only would know of your submission and you're closed, and you can reach out to potential members to join you. And then the co-creation workshop, the key of the process in this cycle, October the 13th, we will be at the PFL campus in Lausanne. We are very thrilled for this opportunity, and it will be a full day of activity there, and it's mandatory for at least one person per representative. So one person from the implementation side, one person from the research side to attend the workshop. If the other members of the team cannot attend, is fine for us, but at least the core development of the idea can be done during that day. And then, as mentioned, in the between, we have both the shortlisting of the ideas from the jury. We also have a moment with the support of Michele here. also forgot to mention at the beginning that I am the director of the program, and Michele, if you would like to present yourself.
Yeah, I'm the project manager of the Innovation Booster Fashion and Lifestyle. Probably got in touch with most of you already, but pleased to meet you.
Yes, and then we have Karen from the comms and marketing.
My name is Carmen. I take care of the communication for IB.
Thank you. And just to mention that Michele, usually between the workshop and the pitch day, after the shortlisting, for the ones that are admitted to the pitch day, we also have a dedicated session, which is online, so it's also practical to join. 1 hour, a deep dive on helping you how to prepare for the pitch day. So it's a full hour, and we also provide with template on presentation, how to build your deck, how to build your pitch, in order to be relevant in terms of how to better leverage the idea developed and to present it also in equal opportunities for all the teams towards the jury during the pitch day. And after the pitch day, after a few days, we consolidate and we officialize the results. And then digitally, we announce the awarded teams. So if you have any questions, I think we have time for some questions. If you have so, you can find our contact. We will follow up with sharing the presentation, sharing our contacts, so you can reach out to us for any inquiry and hopefully to participate in the program.